Yep.
Oh
Yep.
dear, it's a
Yeah,
shame.
that's what the I'm wearing shorts right now, but you can't tell because I have my button up top.
That's fine. I don't care what you wear and things, as long as you don't stand up with nothing on underneath and things. But
Well, with the digital world, Jackie,
I
all
know.
of us are connecting all over the world through technology. So
Yeah,
it's just amazing what you can do now.
it certainly is. But what's amazing, I was just realizing I was just out for a walk, as I said, with my dog, and it's April, nearly the middle of April, and I'm still wearing a pair of gloves because it's so
Really?
cold. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So anyway, it looks like somebody has joined us this evening. Oh, a couple of hi, Ali. Lovely to see you. That was quick. Well done, Ali. Anybody else who's live, say hello. It would love great to see you. And obviously, if you can click on the StreamYard link so that we can see who it is who's commenting, that's absolutely lovely. And for anybody who's watching on the replay, thank you. And if you can add a hashtag replay, then that's really, really lovely, because I love to know who's actually watching. And I know there's a few of you who are quite silent in the group. So it's really, really nice when people just raise their hands slightly in a quiet fashion. Anyway, this evening's guest is, again, somebody from America. He grew up, I believe, with a dentist for a father. Hi, Joe. And went off to university fully expecting to become a dentist. Is that right?
Yeah, dentist or a physician. So.
Okay, yep. So because it's pre-med, it's a bit different to the UK. But whilst at university, realised, oh, hi, Sophie, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Sophie.
Yeah. And so whilst at uni, realised actually that wasn't for him, and he was more interested in the business side of things. So went off and joined the corporate world and started making money for other people. Well, over the course of the next few years, he actually made over $50 million for other people. Realizing that this wasn't quite, well, maybe it would be nice to have a bit of that pie for himself. He headed off, like many before him and many who will follow, I am absolutely sure, and started in a number of partnerships, one of which actually was also, although it sounds a bit like a somewhat different, but podcasting, interviewing really successful entrepreneurs. Where else have I seen that? and because of what he learned, he's actually now set up an entire business teaching other people what he learned from all those successful entrepreneurs. How amazing is that? So please welcome the philanthropic family man. He's got 2 gorgeous kids, Jason Fleagle. Well, even though it's spelled like beagle, it's spelled pronounced Fleagle like a bagel.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I always tell people that I owe that to my German ancestry. So we were originally Fleagle was the German name. And then I think it was my great-great-parents, great-great-grandparents, when they moved over to Wisconsin in the States. They changed it over, I guess, to try to make it easier for people to understand. I don't know.
I know,
but yeah, it looks like Fleagle, but I tell people it's Fleagle like a bagel.
That's good. I thought I'd heard that somewhere, so I thought I was safe saying it. But no, I mean, you think if you're changing from Fleagle, why not change it to something that?
If I were involved in the decision making, I would have suggested that, but I don't know. I don't know why they changed it, to something not, less difficult. I would have changed it to something less difficult, but I don't know.
No, I know. And obviously back then they perhaps didn't even have telephones or whatever. I don't.
Yep.
And it's because you try saying half of these names over the phone. My father's business, I grew up with a family business, was called Orchard, as in apples, Technologies Limited. Well, you try saying that over the telephone. But anyway, so that is actually one really important point. Anybody who's listening who hasn't named their business yet, really think about it seriously, because it is a problem.
Yeah, apparently I have a great last name if I want to do a bagel business or a coffee shop, because then it can be Fleagle's Bagels, because most people will understand how to pronounce it.
Yes, they probably will. Anyway, Jason, so take us back to the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. So, like you mentioned, Jackie, I've had and most entrepreneurs, we have this journey of up and down. It's like a roller coaster. So, I grew up, Jackie, we were talking offline before we went live. I grew up in a really big family. So there's 10 of us in my family. I grew up with 9 other siblings. Grew up in a very much a medical family. My
Mhm,
dad's a dentist, and then I had bunch of aunts and uncles that were, dental assistants, doctors, involved in some kind of medical capacity. So for me, it was like what was known to me. I grew up, working with my dad at his dental office since I was like 12 or 13 years old. So it was an incredible experience to learn how to serve people and then
mhm.
work with people who hated you before they even got in.
That's
No
true.
one likes going to the dentist. So learning how to make people feel comfortable was a very good learning experience. So
Mhm,
I just, expected and thought that that was what I was going to do. So I went to college, university for biology pre-med. So did biology and chemistry.
mhm,
Was actually accepted into medical school first. Ended up deciding not to go that route because I got involved in doing nonprofit consulting work. So I've always been a person seeking out mentors and want to learn from other quote
mm,
unquote experts, that
yeah,
are in a position somewhere further down the line than myself. So I've always wanted to just like get to know them, ask them questions like, hey, how did you get there? What were some of those experiences that you went through? How did you persist through a lot of those challenges? So in college, I just reached out to the speaker, the person in
mhm.
charge of bringing in the speakers at the university,
Ah,
and I was the like liaison to that person. I would
mhm,
take them to go to get food, the different classrooms,
mhm.
do the tours, take them to and from the airport, just because I wanted that opportunity to get to know these people, ask them questions. And again, mentorship was
Yeah,
something I recognized early on. Growing up, I always read biographies, autobiographies of successful people, people who changed the world. And one of the common factors was that they had mentors. They
mhm.
constantly
Yeah,
sought out other people and just wanted to better improve themselves so they could better serve other people.
yeah.
So through those experiences, I got to know, just incredible people. One of the first like outcomes that was really amazing from that was I
Mhm,
befriended Kelly Monroe Kohlberg. She's actually a New York Times bestselling author.
mhm.
She is the author of Finding God at Harvard and then Finding
Yes,
God Beyond Harvard. And
yes.
we got to talking. Her husband came with her to speak at the university as well. We ended up talking for 4 hours, and
Wow.
that turned into an internship opportunity with them to do research on like social issues. How do we better impact the world and leave a positive impact on the lives of other people? So she gave me an entire summer to like do this research project. I presented it to her and some of the other people in the organization. Just fell in love with that. The
Right.
ability to work with people who are like, hey, I have this challenge or I want to do this thing,
Yeah,
but I don't know how to do it. And that to me is like exciting. I love to do that. It's the ability to problem solve. So
yeah,
after that, I'm like, hey, medical route is great,
yeah,
but I'm going to go in a different direction. So,
yeah,
taught myself from there, computer programming, how to do consulting work. And, keep in mind, I'm 19, 20 years old, and all of these organizations are, I'm working with them, working with a lot of incredible projects.
mhm.
So it was just a humble learning experience.
Yeah,
I offered value where I could learn from incredible people. And then I knew I needed to get more experience. So I just started working at different companies. I started
mhm.
working, at digital marketing agencies to learn how to, do content writing, how to do
Yeah,
paid advertising, all those kinds of things that are really, really important for a
yeah,
business and a nonprofit, because a nonprofit is a business. You got to run it like a
exactly.
business.
Yep.
So from there, I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch as one of their e-commerce developers.
Yeah.
Did a lot of amazing launches with them and the projects that they had going on. Was the director of sales for a marketing agency in Ohio.
Right.
worked, with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, the
Yeah. Oh,
Ziggler Corporation. So a lot of really amazing individuals and organizations that are just doing incredible work. So, multi-million dollar businesses all the way down to just
yeah.
solo entrepreneurs starting out.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you actually, how did you get to work with Kevin Harrington? And
Yeah, so interesting experience.
yeah.
Kevin is one of the most incredible, I guess I'll call him an influencer. He's so
Mhm.
much more than that, but
Yeah.
the idea of, he has influence on millions of people all around the
Mhm.
world. So if you're not familiar with him, he was on the first, I think, 2 seasons of ABC's Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So, they have different versions of it in
Yeah.
different countries all around the world.
Yeah.
So he was on there because he was friends with what's his name, Mark Burnett, one of the executive
Yeah.
producers of the show.
Mhm.
So we ended up getting to work with him because he was a huge fan of Zig Ziglar.
Right.
So I was with a company, Story Builders at the time, and we specialized in authentic content creation.
Yeah.
So Bill Blankshane, the founder, and we ran the company together. I was like his right-hand man.
Mhm.
We did a lot of amazing projects, everything from book writing and publishing to,
Mhm.
creating online course content, things like that. So we
Mhm.
worked very closely with the Ziggler family
Yeah.
in one of their new projects called Ziggler Family, actually. So it was around the idea on, taking Zig Ziglar's amazing insights, his content, and
Yeah.
basically applying what does that look like for leading your family effectively.
Okay.
So we, helped create all the content for the Ziggler Family launch. Story
Mhm.
Builders did. So
Right.
from that experience, we got to know the Ziggler Corporation really well. Well, one of the VPs at Ziggler,
Yeah.
Kevin Harrington, actually reached out to them and said, "Hey, when I was 16 years old, I read Zig Ziglar's See You at the Top. That book
Right.
was so influential on my
Mhm.
life and how I serve people, how I sell."
Yeah.
Thankfully Ziggler was like, "Oh, this is an amazing opportunity. Let's get to know you, Kevin, a little bit more on what you want to do." Because Kevin was the pioneer of the infomercial industry.
Right.
And as more and more people are cutting off television.
Yep.
So he was in a position where he's like, I need to figure out what I want to do for, my life legacy. I need to get
Mhm.
more into the digital age. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how it came about, Jackie, how we got introduced. From there, it, turned into a lot more work. We created Secrets of Closing the Sale Masterclass with the Ziggler
Mhm.
Corporation and Kevin Harrington as a partnership.
Yeah.
And then as a result of Kevin getting to know us, we actually managed his personal brand for a
Right.
while. So,
Yes.
redeveloped his website, did social media content, email marketing content. So
Yeah.
yeah, Kevin is one of the best guys I think I've ever worked with at a high level.
Oh, cool. That's really nice to know because you hear such horror stories sometimes. Yeah. But we
That's right.
won't go there because there
I
seems
will
to have been
say, I will
yeah,
say because when I tell people Kevin from Shark Tank, they
yeah.
immediately think Kevin O'Leary, which Kevin O'Leary is the negative, the bad, the mean Kevin.
Okay.
Where Kevin Harrington's the nice Kevin is what I
Oh,
like
okay.
to tell
That's
people.
okay. Well, that's not, then that must be, I mean, like attracts like, doesn't it? So
That's
yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah. So if you wanted to get into working with a company like Ziegler
Mhm.
family business, whatever, would you be able to do that again? Do you think from what you've learned on? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm such a relationship person. So,
Hmm.
I like to choose the projects I work on based on the relationships I
Yeah.
have or I've
Yeah.
built over the years.
Yeah.
So, as some relationships are very, very good. You
Yeah.
maintain those relationships long term, and others, it was great at that time, but
Yeah.
ultimately you found, hey, we're not great at working with each other. So,
Yeah.
through those experiences, that's actually what ended up happening with me with Story Builders. Bill and I
Right.
parted ways. So, Bill still has a great relationship with the Ziggler organization. I could probably reach out and work with them if I wanted to, but
Yeah.
currently, it's not a focus of mine.
No.
I have a lot of other projects and industries and new
Yeah.
things I want to be involved in. So, I like to tell people, it's if you want to do something, you can easily make it happen.
Yeah.
It just might take a long time. You just have to be really persistent. My first opportunity I had out of college to work with a client, I had to send them 20 emails that I scheduled every single 2 weeks. I sent it to this individual. And then finally after it, he's like, okay, you've been really persistent. I'm going to get a meeting with you. So probably just to, shut me up. But, it turned into, he's like, wow, you actually are, legitimate, you're authentic, you're trustworthy. So let's talk about working together. So, and that comes through, when you want to make things happen, being authentic, displaying trust, and then being vulnerable, being humble is really important. Like you said, Jackie, like attracts like. So, you want to be sure you're working with the right people if you're trying to attract that.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, if you're working with the wrong people, it just zaps your energy totally. But yeah, I can certainly testify to the persistence thing. When I was at uni, I did 1 year of a maths degree and then decided to swap and do economics. And I went across to the economics department, and in the end, they let me swap because they said, "You are persistent."
Exactly right. Well, see, that was Jackie. That's another thing I noticed when, growing up, again, reading biographies, autobiographies, watching documentaries of these quote unquote successful people. Persistence was the other commonality, the common thread. They had mentors, they were persistent. So if they tried something, it didn't work, they were like, okay, what happened? How did that fail? And how can we make adjustments to move forward? The people and that's why they won. You look at any business throughout history, like with the result of the COVID-19 pandemic, you have people that are successful and you have other people that are dropping off because it's an opportunity, as bad as that sounds, but any kind of negative situation, you can always have the opportunity to turn it, try to serve other people effectively.
Yes, and totally, 100%. And it's interesting. I've done enough of these interviews now, and the one thing that just comes through all the time is this whole persistence and the fact that winners clearly have never quitted.
That's right.
It was quite funny. I was looking at because I think I mentioned this last week, actually. In the short time that I've been doing this, there are people who've come and gone, and I just thought, and I've gone and looked at their stuff and thought, well, why have they disappeared? And it's actually just because they've decided that it's not worth their effort or whatever. But then I look at other people like Danny McMillan, and I mean, he's been going 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, and I remember him starting his first, and there would be like 1 or 2 people watching, maybe, sort of thing. And now look at him; he's all over the place and things, and he's still here. And it really is. But I love the fact that you sort of say you're a relationships person, and you keep on that one of your things is building those relationships. Now, if somebody wanted to get in with a company like Zig Ziglar, how would you recommend that if they were sort of like in the UK, no chance of just sort of bumping into or whatever, what would you say would be the first steps to getting there, apart from sending 20 emails?
Well, sending the 20 emails is important, but that's a tactical thing. So I always start with, and I mean, it's the same with anything, with marketing, with sales, doing operations. What's your strategy? So in this kind of situation, what has always worked, and I did this early on, I still do it now when I do sales or do lead gen for myself or on behalf of other companies. Find those decision makers at the organization. Figure out who that is kind of the, I'll say, like, air traffic controller. They're a lot of the Ziggler family. So the children of Zig, they're in leadership positions, but they're much harder to get a hold of. So if you can kind of get to the next level underneath them, so those are like VP levels, that, and then try to get their executive assistants or their assistants that they have in office. That's who you need to talk to. And then from there, it's creating a custom message, like you do, Jackie. I can tell you've done your research. You look at their background, what projects have they done? You look at their family, what do they like to do for fun? Because all of that influences how you can connect with them at a really deep level.
Yeah.
And then the other thing for me that I beat out everyone else. I send a customized video or an audio message directly for them. I
Right.
say, hey, Mark, so great to connect with you here. I won't take long. This will only be a minute, 2 minutes. Just wanted to reach out here. And then I go down the list of what are those common things that connect us.
Yeah.
Be very quick on what is my ask? How am I going to deliver value to them? And then, leave it with a follow-up. Hey, would you be willing to do a 5 to 15-minute call with me? I won't take much of your time. Just want to, add value as much as I can. That's been the most effective way to kind of get through the gatekeepers
Yes.
and get a meeting. So, I mean, for me, anytime I've wanted to talk, I've worked with 2 billionaires. I've worked with, leaders of amazing nonprofits who have no money. I've worked with amazing best-selling authors. The common thread is no matter who it is, you follow that same kind of thing that you want to, and it will work. And then from there, it's being persistent.
Yes.
You need to find out, okay, why didn't they respond to me that
Yeah.
first time? What's going on? Especially now with the pandemic, I get a lot of messages back. Hey, I'm down with COVID right now. I have it. Would love though, really impressed by your message. Would love to do a call when we're feeling better though.
Yeah.
So things like that, it's okay. Just keep track of it. So as most people do, you use a CRM system, customer relationship management tool, just to keep track of who you're talking with, those conversations.
Which one do you use?
So I've used almost all of them at this point. But the newest one that has been blowing everything else out of the water is GoHighLevel. So GoHighLevel is absolutely amazing. Yeah, I was going to say, Jackie, I thought you're familiar with it. So GoHighLevel is, I've used Asana, I've used ClickUp, I've used HubSpot, I've used Salesforce. So, and, some of them lean more towards project management, some lean more towards the sales kind of component, where I think GoHighLevel has done the best at bringing all the pieces together and giving a really good system, a dashboard that's effective. It's lean. And to me, that's important because you can move quickly.
I've not particularly looked at it, but my son absolutely raves about it. So so I have heard a lot. I had a look when he was sort of deciding, and it does look pretty phenomenal. So
what we've done now, actually with Catalyst Brand Group, one of my companies, we have taken what GoHighLevel has built, and so the development community with GoHighLevel, their developers actually give you so much API ability. And if you're familiar with programming, that just means you can create all these customized connections with your other tools. So we use ClickUp for project management. So we wrote an API to automatically update our own dashboard for our company and our client dashboard. So all the clients can see everything all in one place. And then that integrates also with, like, we use, depending on the budget levels, we can do custom mobile apps or custom website applications. But most of the websites we do for clients are WordPress sites. So we have custom portals that can connect with GoHighLevel too. So it's literally, Jackie, is sales and lead gen, marketing, and your operations support all in one place. And that's the easiest for me. It's like, let's remove the barriers and let's focus on what really matters here for, not only our business and its success and the team, but, the clients that we're serving. So,
no, I know my son absolutely raves about it because he just says it's so slick when it works.
Yes. It's relatively new, so it's buggy. But they're, like I mentioned, the development community. So my team, Jake, my director of operations, he reaches out to them like probably every other day now. Because we're working with it to build this custom solution, like I mentioned. So they seriously will take that and implement it in their next roadmap of what they're building. And they're very, again, I mentioned I've worked with all of them. I've never seen a development community that has been so focused on trying to build something that people really, really want and what people need.
Yes, well, that's really good. That is, and that's nice to hear, actually, because it's not a cheap option. I mean, it's not an expensive option. It's nothing like Infusionsoft or anything like that. But you sort of, when you're starting out, you sort of think, shall I, shan't I? And my son has invested in it because he just thinks it's the bee's
So
knees.
it saves you money.
Yes.
I literally did this yesterday, Jackie.
Ah,
We
good.
broke it down for if
Yeah.
you paid for your email marketing tools, your
Yep.
website tools, like
Exactly.
your SMS tools
Yep.
separately,
Yeah.
it's very expensive. But Go High
Yes.
Level, you get all of them for one price every month. So
Yes.
it's worth it if you want to take the time to learn how to use it and what it can do.
Yes, that's the whole point. For me, it's not a necessity at the moment, but
Yep.
yeah, but my son's doing digital marketing, so yeah,
Awesome.
it's a
That's
bit
great.
more. Yes, it is. So your business now, you've got 3 businesses, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
working on a 4th one right now.
Okay, right. So where should we start? What's the 4th? What's the one you're working on right now? Is that a bit hush hush at the minute?
Well, so I've been wanting to get into the gardening space for a
Okay.
while. So I'm working on a project right now with the business owner. So I'm in Palm Coast, Florida, and
Mm-hmm.
this business and the business owner's in Orlando. Amazing guy, but he developed a amazing watering container for plants
Right.
that it's totally food grade quality plastic,
Yeah.
but you can have these all connected in series, and
Mm-hmm.
all of these plants will get the exact water that they need no matter what kind of plant it is. He's
Wow.
got a patent on it. It is
Right.
amazing. So I'm trying to work on becoming a partner with him, or getting investors to purchase the company
Right.
outright from him. So that's kind of one I'm still working on in any capacity.
Yeah.
I told him, I'm like, as a partner, or we buy it, or, you just work with me as a service provider. I can help you with marketing, digital marketing. I want to be involved with you because I love
Right.
that. I'm very passionate about growing very natural food and
Mm-hmm.
making sure our bodies have the
Yes.
right fuel that we need.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a new project that I'm kind of working on right now.
Okay. And how does he feel about that? Does he want a partner or to sell out or?
Great question. So he's in a later stage of his life. He's in his
Right.
late 60s.
Okay.
He wants to get out. He really does. So
Yeah.
he's looking for the right offer to purchase the company.
Okay. Yeah.
So if he did say if he would stay on, it would probably be just as a board member.
Yeah.
Helping influence some of the decisions,
Mm-hmm.
just making sure that the original brand identity
Yes.
stays the same. It's
Right.
that
Yeah.
and that's really important to him, and it's important to me too.
Mm-hmm.
His previous customers, I would want a seamless change,
Yeah.
where we would do the same amount of care or
Yeah.
better than what they were getting in the past.
Right. So how did you come across him? How did you find that opportunity?
Grow Like a Pro show, actually, Jackie. So I
Okay.
had a previous podcast show that I
Mm-hmm.
started, grew very rapidly from starting to within a year. We got featured by, in the States, iHeartMedia. I don't know if it's too popular internationally, but
Yeah.
iHeartMedia is like one of the largest radio aggregation platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically, they rank, different shows in particular categories. Grow Like a Pro show was all about interviewing amazing entrepreneurs from all walks of life to
Yeah.
share tips, tools, and techniques to help people grow like a pro.
Yeah.
So through those opportunities, I met Randy, who's the
Right.
owner of this particular company, and one of the companies internally who helped start this show
Yeah.
was indoor gardening company. So
Ah.
I already was looking at some of these kind of companies in that industry
Yeah.
that were like, they were really innovative. They had something new that no one else really had,
Yeah.
but they needed a little help, to grow the company, to get their message out there. So as soon as I talked with him on the phone, we just connected. I mean, I think we
Mm-hmm.
ended up talking for like an hour and a half, almost 2
Right.
hours. He's just an amazing, amazing guy, not only in how he runs his company, but he gives back. He in Africa, the food shortages is something
Mm-hmm.
he's really passionate about. So he donates so much of these containers to the
Right.
local people there so that they can actually grow their own food to sustain their family.
Wow.
So it was just he's an amazing guy. And that's
Yeah.
another reason I want to partner with him, because I'm a huge giver,
Mm-hmm.
too. So if the more money we can make for profit, the more
Yeah.
money we can, give away, the more products we can give away. So that's always back of my mind too.
Yes, that's lovely. That's something that's actually coming through an awful lot from the interviews I've been doing recently, particularly, is the fact that so many people, so many successful entrepreneurs, the more they give away, the more it seems to come back to them as well.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. My favorite quote from Zig Ziglar
yeah,
is, "You can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want." And
yes,
that's for profit. That's, just giving freely.
yeah,
So whenever I work with people, even if it's just getting to know someone, I'm
hmm,
like, "Hey, who are you? What do
yeah,
you like to do for fun? Tell me about your family." So, and then usually through that, as humans, we we
yeah,
talk about like what we're struggling with or what's
yeah,
going on. So, it comes up pretty quickly on, challenges that we're facing. And
hmm,
for me, at my particular level, some people would say, "Oh, I'm really successful, but
yeah,
I'm nowhere near, where I want to be."
no,
And then at different levels come even more challenges. So,
yeah,
and other
yes,
headaches and issues to work with. And, you're not just responsible for yourself and your family at that point. You're
no,
responsible for multiple families and
yes,
how they influence people too. So it's a lot of responsibility, but again, it comes back down to others focused. You've got to serve people first.
absolutely. I agree with that entirely. And there was something you said there, Drat, and now it has gone completely. I will move on and hope it will come back and things. But so you've got that side of the business, your business your catalyst.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Catalyst Brand Group.
that's the one. Sorry, and
Yeah, I just tell people Catalyst. So when I was
yeah,
registering the company, Catalyst, just straight Catalyst was taken because it's a common name.
yes,
So I'm like, well, what's something that, I called it a group because I
yeah,
want people to know it's not just me. My
yes.
team are a team of experts, and I surround myself with people because I'm constantly learning. So.
Yeah, that was actually what I was one of the things I was going to ask. Do you have employees, or do you have freelancers, contractors working?
Yeah, so it depends on the company. So one
Yeah.
of the companies I work with now, Motava, out in Silicon Valley,
Hmm.
in California, so I work with them doing a lot of content marketing management. So they are a full-blown agency, so full employees.
Yeah.
Catalyst Brand Group, I keep it very lean. So
Yeah.
I have a core team of people, and those are partners actually. So
Right.
they have their own separate companies, but we
Right.
partner together on
Okay.
particular projects. So
Yeah. So a bit
I
like collaborations, really.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that's, a standard model for a lot of high level. I hate to use the word consulting groups,
Yeah.
but that's basically what it is.
Hmm.
I'm, the big three is something that's regularly talked about, consulting companies, where I like to tell people we're not a consulting company that takes you money. If you give us your money, we can multiply it. So
Yeah.
it's different
Yes.
than the
Yeah.
industry standards.
Yeah. So you're a bit like an ATM machine, really.
Depending on the industry, for me, it's tough to get into an industry I haven't had much experience in, or the team
Hmm.
hasn't had much experience in.
Yeah.
But for the ones that we've, done well, yes, we've done it. Like the pandemic, we've been able to. So the entertainment companies we've worked with, they've
Yeah.
been getting about 5 to 10x their
Wow.
revenue before the pandemic hit. So it's an opportunity. Figure out how you
Yeah.
can pivot and then lean more into that. How
Yeah.
can you still serve people in, these kind of interesting times?
Yes. Hopefully are coming to an end.
Yes, hopefully.
Yes, a little bit longer, but hopefully not too much longer. Things. Everybody, if you can put a one in the chat if you're enjoying today's interview, that would be great. If you're feeling you're really getting something out of it, then that would be lovely to hear. Otherwise, smash that heart button or the like or the whatever. That'd be great. And if you're here on the live, if you can put hashtag live in there. If you're on Team Replay, then put replay crew or replay hashtag replay. That'd be lovely. Thank you. And so tell us about your other businesses. You've got a supplements brand as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this one's relatively new. We've been
Right.
working on it for a while, but the company's, excuse me, the company is called Wreckage Sports. So,
Yeah.
excuse me, let me take a drink of water. I'm drinking kind of tea here, and there's like grains that sometimes get stuck in the back of my throat. So, excuse me,
Yes.
I'm good. So Wreckage Sports is the name of the company. So it's very interesting. I mentioned with this gardening container
Mhm.
company, I'm
Yeah.
very passionate about natural organic food.
Yes.
So this particular company, we have two labs,
Mhm.
one in Las Vegas, and then one in out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Right.
But a good friend of mine, Dr. Alfredo Galvez, he's
Mhm.
actually the pioneer of the field of epigenetics.
Right.
So in the past, with genetics, we thought you were born with just your genes,
Yeah.
and that's what you were born with. But thanks to Dr. Galvez's research, we know that the genome is actually surrounded by the epigenome, which
Right.
means you can control the expression of those genes on or off. So through
Wow.
lifestyle changes,
Yeah.
dietary changes, you can actually change. Like before, we would say, hey, if your parents were overweight,
Yeah.
you're going to be overweight. But actually,
Yeah.
thanks to his research, we know that's not the case.
Mhm.
Through lifestyle changes, you can influence that, what you eat. So
Yeah.
his research, he found that in soybeans,
Yeah.
lunasin was the first protein that was able to influence that gene expression. So
Okay.
from there, he's developed, other proteins he's found, and then we've developed that into product lines actually
Right.
with Wreckage Sports. So
Yeah.
Wreckage Sports is one particular company that has partnerships in it. We're working on a few other ones here
Yeah.
soon with a different kind of focus line. So
Right.
obviously with the pandemic,
Yes.
immune products
Mhm.
are something a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah.
How do you have a healthier immune system? Because if
Yeah.
you do get COVID, this will help minimize that as much as it can because you're healthier. We know that now with looking at the data, people who unfortunately are more overweight, they're older, they don't, take care of
Yeah.
themselves as well as they probably should.
Yeah.
Having a healthier immune system kind of minimizes some of the harsh effects, the side effects that you can get from the virus. So we've developed that
Mm.
into, hence the name Wreckage. We work
Yeah.
with fighters, athletes in kind of
Mhm.
the fighting space. So
Yeah. Okay.
wrestlers, MMA fighters, boxers,
Yeah.
anyone kind of at a athletic level. So we're
Right.
working with people from high school age,
Yeah.
middle school age,
Yeah.
all the way up to professional
Right.
athletes.
Isn't
So
your brother a professional athlete? Is it a
yeah,
brother?
so
Yeah.
he's still training, and then I have a younger brother, Justin, who
Mhm.
actually he's qualified for the Olympic trials as well for the U.S. So
Right.
he'll be when they get it scheduled. I don't know if it's still going to be on. I think they moved it to this summer, but he's going to compete there too. So yeah, my brother Josh competed, I think, at the last four Olympic trials. He was
Wow.
fairly close to making it on a relay team.
Right.
And then he just missed out on that. So
Oh.
he's
Yeah.
still now he's coaching swimmers well right now all around the country. He's primarily in Ohio training swimmers, but he gets down to Florida too to train people at swim camps. And then
Right.
Justin, he swims for the Ohio State University currently. So
Wow.
he's thinking about trying for the Olympics, but that's his decision on whether he wants to do that or not.
Right. Gosh. So quite a talented, sporty family then.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
we always grew. I mean, it was talk about life preparation. We would get up at, 4:45 or 5 in the morning to go to swim practice. And then we
Yeah.
would go through our day, do school. We'd have another practice in the evening and then have to go do homework and everything on top. So yeah, it was good life preparation, working hard.
Yeah, I can remember there was a boy at school with me, and he would go swimming before school because he was very good as well. And I was absolutely astounded that somebody would get up and go swimming at 5:30 in the morning.
Yep.
It didn't occur to me that why was that any different to me, who would actually be out on my horse at 5:30 in the morning.
That's right. If you are passionate about it, it's like
Yeah,
you make the time for it.
exactly. Yeah.
I grew up, doing baseball, basketball, all
Mhm.
these different sports, but
Yeah.
swimming was the one that really connected. And as a
Yeah.
family, we just I had the opportunity to swim in college, but again, wanting to be a physician, I ended up not going to do a scholarship. And I'm very thankful for that, because if I
Yeah.
didn't make that decision, I probably would be in a very different spot right
Yeah.
now.
Yes. It is. It's amazing the choices you make and things. But do you think that sort of background of dedication and passion and sport has really influenced your business life as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have a book outline
Ooh.
that I've kind of been working on, because,
Mhm.
one of my business mentors, he's a very high level consultant. He's he had a very successful marketing agency out on the West Coast in the
Yeah.
States, and, sold it. But he's like, no one's really done this messaging on why a background in athletics is so
Mhm.
important in not only entrepreneurship
Yeah.
preparation, but life preparation.
Mhm.
Learning how to deal with issues, because all of us have challenges. But I think being an athlete, you learn to recognize those kind of barriers or challenges as an
Mhm.
opportunity to
Yeah.
figure out, how can you overcome that? How can you, move around that barrier and get to the other side in the best way possible?
Yeah.
And then
Resilience is,
yes, resilient. It's a constant,
yeah,
daily thing. You've got to learn, hey, you got to put the work in every day.
and be
So
resourceful as well.
yeah, exactly
It's,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
very,
it combines so many different things that
yeah,
I think are beneficial for people. The idea of, if you put in the work, because at our level, we were some of the fastest swimmers in the country,
yeah,
for our different events. And at that level, it becomes more mental than anything.
mm, yeah,
So the idea of understanding, physically you can only do so much, and then
yeah,
mentally you have to visualize, winning that race.
yeah.
That's a very important thing with being a business owner.
Yes.
For me, every day I visualize, I look at my goals, I meditate, because you have to win mentally before you
Mhm.
can win physically.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like with these elite athletes and things where they do their entire training for that one race
Yep.
in the middle of August. And
Hmm.
if anything happens in between and it's delayed by a week or COVID or whatever, then to try and replicate that is actually pretty difficult because
That's right.
it's just so planned out, isn't it?
That's right. Well, and I think when you are at the time to perform too,
Yeah.
if you've done it mentally beforehand, your body will just rise to the challenge.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Lochte, he's one of the fastest swimmers for the United States, and the last 3 or 4 world records that he's broken, he's done it injured at the event. He broke the 200-yard backstroke, 200-meter backstroke world record with a
Wow.
broken leg.
Broken leg.
So yeah, yeah, it was actually his tibia, I think. His lower leg
Blimey.
was fractured when he
Wow.
swam that race and won. So
Mm.
it pushing through the pain and just rising to the occasion of
Yeah.
what the famous saying, Napoleon Bonaparte, he conquered a
Mhm.
lot of those countries mentally before he did it physically.
Yeah.
So, that the idea of, you've got to think about what you want, and then how can you make that happen? What
Yeah.
you think about, you bring about, is one of the sayings I like to
Yes.
say.
Where your focus, your energy, what is it? Energy goes, focus flow. Or no, where your focus goes, your energy
Your
flows.
energy goes. Yep,
That's
exactly
it.
right. I know what you're talking about.
Things, but yeah. So do you think that your background in sport has also led you down that path of creating wreckage?
Yes, exactly. That was one thing that really connected to me, because I have an opportunity to not only add value to the company,
Yeah.
and with the other partners too, but having a athletic background
Yeah.
is really important. One of the other partners too, he actually came from. He's got 2 other 8-figure supplement brands that he
Wow.
started and currently runs. So
Wow.
he's got a lot of experience in the CrossFit industry. So as an
Okay.
athlete, and also working with gym owners, he
Yeah.
has a network of like 700 gym owners all across the United States that he works
Okay.
with.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely, to answer your question, absolutely. I mean, it's tough to not only be an athlete and be a business owner.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest things for us is, as the fitness industry has struggled very very hard with the
Yeah.
pandemic because they've
Yeah.
had stay-at-home orders. So how do you still serve people and
Mhm.
work with them as a coach or as a
Yeah.
gym owner while everyone's at home?
Yeah.
So, things like that has been what we've been trying to do. So with Wreckage, there's actually going to be a whole like educational component. Hey, as the gym owner, here's your success package where people don't
Okay.
physically have to be at your gym. You
Yeah.
can do all this through live streams and that kind of
Yes.
thing to have that kind of group component. So, and that was actually really successful for some of the clients I worked with, to help
Mhm.
them do that through like Zoom
Yeah.
is what they ended up doing.
Yes, because I think that is one aspect that gym owners and things, they didn't expect the COVID to last quite so long and to be so severe, but
Hmm.
also they're not used to doing stuff online, are they? I
That's
mean,
right.
okay,
That's
there've
right.
been DVDs and workout DVDs and things like that for centuries. Well, not literally, and things, but they're all done in a studio with cameras and suddenly all these people have had to come together and
Yep.
learn all these new skills, and it really is phenomenal what people
Yeah.
have achieved and things. So
Again, it's a pivot opportunity. You've
yes,
got to you've got to respond
yeah,
to the situation and then see what's available that you can use as a resource, to
yeah,
continue to serve those people.
yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. So do you sell on Amazon as well, or
So we will be, getting the products on Amazon. Right now, it's all just through the e-commerce site that we have set up.
right?
So
And that's the WordPress site, is
mhm.
it? Or
Yeah, WordPress WooCommerce is what we're
yeah,
using for that. I've done a lot of Shopify too, but in this situation, we have a lot of like custom elements on the back end that we're going to be
yeah,
building in. So WordPress was a better option to go with.
right. Yep. So you're going to be doing wholesale as well into the
Mhm.
gyms as
Exactly
well
right.
as selling end to end and things.
Yeah,
So
we like to tell the gym owners, they're like, your people who are members coming to
yeah,
your gym or taking supplements at
yeah,
home but still tuning into what you're doing with the gym,
yeah,
they're taking supplements anyway, so why not have them take supplements that you're providing to them and you can make some money from that as well, and they
exactly.
can know that they're getting incredible trusted products.
Yes, exactly. Would you do that as a sort of white label for the brand so that for the gym so that they could build their own brands, or are you just doing it under the Wreckage label?
Yeah, so with the labs that we actually have, we have a whole distribution company that
Yeah.
eventually, we haven't launched it, but we will be able to do like white label, private label
Yeah.
opportunities for
Yeah.
people. So yes, to answer your question, we will eventually.
Yes.
We could do it now. It's just, it's all the systems, the operations not set up to do
Yeah.
that yet.
Yeah.
That's actually what we're trying to do with Wreckage first is, to get a number of the gym owners successfully going through the
Yeah.
system, making some changes, and then we'll get to that point where we can, start to launch some of the new things.
Yes, because that's great for gyms to build their own brand and
Exactly.
really have that whole brand loyalty, isn't it?
Yeah, well, one of the things you see with the successful gyms,
Mhm.
it's usually as a result of that gym owner being such an attractive kind of, and I don't mean attractive in a
Yeah.
physical, beautiful way. It's,
Yeah.
their personality is attractive.
Yeah.
They have an incredible, authentic, like energy about them, and I
Yeah.
think them being authentic with that kind of brand identity, yeah,
Mhm.
they should absolutely lean into that.
Yeah.
People can tell pretty quickly if you're trying to pretend to be someone that you're not. So
Yes,
just be
exactly.
yourself, lean into that. Same thing is
Yes.
true with marketing. Some business owners try to do things that they really shouldn't be doing. They
Yeah.
should be doing what they're more effective at. And
Yeah.
then again, it's what do people want at the end of the day?
Yes. And sorry, my son's just doing a workout. I think he's just a grunt. Sorry, I think I lose my train of thought there. Um, I think, but you've started these companies and off the back of basically building amazing connections and then
Hmm.
really leaning into those connections.
Exactly.
So, and you now with your Catalyst Brand Group teach other business owners how to get the same sort of success you've got.
Yeah. So with the Catalyst Training Group, actually, I haven't
Mhm.
promoted or launched anything yet here,
Yeah.
but we're going to be releasing. I'm hoping to do, like online course content, free
Yeah.
content for entrepreneurs and business owners on,
Mhm.
hey, here's some like projects we've worked on in these industries.
Yeah.
Take it, apply it to your business and see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yes.
And then that kind of situation, it's again for me, it's delivering as much value as I can. as you know, Jackie, when you work with companies, some of the companies just starting out, they don't have a budget, to
No.
work with like a company like mine.
Yeah.
So what is something I can do for them? I can give
Exactly.
free content away. I
Yeah.
can show them, hey, here's a blueprint that you can do it yourself. And
Yeah.
then, hey, at some point, if you start to generate some revenue, we
Yeah.
can, again, catalyst. We can act as that part of your team. You add
Yeah.
us to the mix and we'll help you get to that end result even faster, much better result.
The mentoring thing again.
Yeah,
Fast
absolutely.
tracking your success by just paying for the shortcut, which is again what, as somebody I interviewed before Christmas, so, excuse me, Simon Coulson said he wrote a book on how to buy property in Bulgaria.
Nice.
Yeah. And excuse me. And he then started selling it because he basically said, well, it will take you 100 hours to get the information that I've already got. Yes, it's all there for free, but you can pay me 20 quid and you've got it in your hand tomorrow, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's exactly the same. That's what you're offering. And in order for people to be able to get into that position, you are giving away free content that they can then learn from and generate the cash to pay you to speed it up even further.
Yeah,
Love it.
exactly. And a lot of the services I work on with projects with businesses, so I break it down into phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. The
Yeah.
first phase, the goal is always to generate enough revenue where it will make back their initial investment of what it costs to work with us.
Yeah.
So almost all of the recent projects that I've been working with companies, that has taken place. It's been, okay, you have this particular budget. Our goal is to generate 2x to 3x that amount of money that you're investing in this. And then
Yeah.
from there, we've got some money to dedicate to a phase 2, more long-term growth. And then
Yeah.
that usually turns into the 10x or more kind of growth of their
Right.
revenue. So it's a step-by-step process if done right. I've done it over the last 12, 13 years now. It's been working really effectively.
Right. Yeah. And then, so what is one key thing, do you think, for a business that's actually going to survive and live beyond that 5 to 10 year period when so many businesses still fail?
Yeah, so in one of the publications, I published an article. I think I was marketing and growth hacking.
Hmm.
I wrote a response to Forbes, did an article on these are the 5 reasons that businesses fail.
Yeah.
And, they listed out, oh, it's your cash flow. You're not, paying enough attention to it.
Yeah.
You're not doing your sales well, things like that. But to me, that's underlying symptoms. It's not the real disease that is plaguing a business.
Yeah.
So I always break down a business into the main functions that everything should really be in order. So I've kind of call it the brand wheel. Jackie is
Right.
usually how I explain it to people.
Okay.
So if you think of your business,
Yeah.
you have 3 main areas. It's your brand story, your brand position, and your brand journey. So each of those are the spokes of a wheel. If they're in order, your wheel's going to turn and you're going to get to your destination.
Yeah.
If 1 or 2 of them are out of order, all 3, your wheel is not going to turn. You're not going to get to that destination that you want. So it's usually broken down into, brand story. That's your mission, vision, values, your authentic story that you're trying to tell that separates you from everyone else. Your brand position is like your service or your product. It's what you do and how you do it effectively. Like Sell Like Crazy by Sabri Subi, one of the best salespeople out of Australia. Highly recommend his book. He's got a whole step-by-step process on like that tactical info. Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels, same thing, expertsecrets.com secrets, that kind of info. And then finally, the brand journey is really, really dialing in who is that person that you're trying to serve and what is this value ladder. It's a step-by-step from first interaction to becoming a raving fan. What are those step-by-step pieces of that journey that you lead people on as the trusted guide? So whenever I speak on, conferences or speaking events, I always break that down because it's simple. The other way to describe it is just remember PASTOR, PASTOR. It's problem, amplify, your story or your solution,
Yeah.
the transformation, your offer, and then a response. If
Yeah.
you break that down into that main area, like that's true. So I mentioned, I create a lot of content.
Yeah.
I've almost all the content we create follows that same process. Same
Okay.
for sales lead generation. When I'm on a sales call,
Yeah.
I walk through that same kind of process. When I'm doing
Yeah.
operations or support with my team, same kind of thing. Hey,
Yeah.
what's the problem? Okay, what do we need to do? What's our solution that we can, really dial this in? From there, we can actually use it as marketing materials. Hey, here's the transformation that we did from here,
Yeah.
before and after. So and that's what I love about, business. It's bad things happen all the time,
Yeah.
but how can you use it to build yourself up,
Yeah.
instead of just thinking about it and tearing yourself down?
That's it. And one of the biggest things I think is those companies actually have a vision as sort of a what if. Okay, if this doesn't work, what are we going to do? And think longer term, isn't it?
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. For me, I always try to have like if then else kind of, so three
Yeah.
kind of possibilities. So and you got to do what's a good fit for you.
Hmm.
So like with the pandemic, I had 2020 all planned out. It was so nice, going to be so great, as everyone did. And
Hmm.
then the pandemic happened and you pivot. So
Yeah.
think projects that I'm involved in now, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have been involved in before, because so many people reached. So before the pandemic, I was doing like a lot of speaking on podcasts, talking about physical like businesses, how they should be getting more online, because you
Yeah.
never know when you're going to
Yeah.
need to be more online.
So it's your fault.
So a lot of the same companies I was talking to before, they reached back out and said, "Hey, we need help. You talked about this. Well, can you do this faster?"
Fantastic. Yeah. So oh, drat it. I had something there again as well, but it's my brain is just going.
You're
So
good.
little things keep popping up, and I think, oh, that would be great to talk about. But
Well, we need to do another episode,
oh, I
Jackie.
think so. Yeah, I think we will have to have a repeat in a couple of months' time or something, or even less. But yeah, it's interesting how all these businesses sort of evolve and change over time, and
Mhm.
it's the ones that evolve and change that actually survive and thrive, as opposed
That's right.
to falling by the wayside. And it
Yeah, you
was,
look at all the very successful global businesses right
yeah,
now, they all captured market dominance
yeah,
in very difficult times.
yes,
So, and that's what a lot of people, they think that the like Apple or Google or, really large companies, not just
yeah,
technology companies too, but through those interesting troubled times, they figured out how they could better serve the people they're trying to serve and
yeah,
do it better than anyone else. Because it was a huge, like Amazon, when they were about to declare bankruptcy,
yeah,
uh, Jeff Bezos, he decided to risk so much and go in completely new directions that would
right.
better serve people. And
Yeah.
he beat out all the competition, and that's why they're really successful today.
Yeah, I think the high street anywhere is now going to have to adapt, and it will be about the experience. It's not going to be
Yeah.
mass production, because in the UK, quite a few of those businesses have actually gone under. I think it's
Mm.
going to be the time of the small boutique
Yeah,
offering amazing customer service, amazing customer experience, and perhaps bringing that whole sort of um, Chanel branding and way of doing things
that's
into
right.
the small brands. And I think
Yeah,
that is
it's
exciting.
what do you leave people with
Yeah,
after they connect with you, they work with you? Because that's really important to me. I tell people all the time,
yeah,
you can go work with anyone much cheaper.
yeah,
You can work with people probably better than me,
yeah,
but what you're going to get with me is experience, the expert team that we have, things like that. And then the personal relationship is huge.
yeah,
That's the best thing I think about business is you get to choose who you work with, and then they
yeah.
get to choose if it's a good fit to work with you too. I
Yes.
say no far more
Yeah.
to people who ask to work with us than I do yes, because it's just I now at this stage it's if you say yes, it's going to be a horrible situation for both people in the future.
Yes, I'm. That's one of my things I'm actually learning at the moment, is to say no to people and things. But there's one other thing I wanted to talk about, was actually that you are a family man, and
Mhm.
you recognise that work is there to serve you as a family as well.
That's
And
right.
so what does your whole day look like? I know we are coming
Yeah.
up to the hour here. So,
Yeah, it's so I try to chunk my time
mhm,
because and like you mentioned, I'm
yeah,
three, almost four businesses right now,
yeah,
and I have to split my time. So most of it's structured around so Dan Pink wrote a great book. I can't remember the book off the top of my head. I think it's The Power of Timing,
right,
but he talks about every individual has three main chunks of their day. You
yeah,
have your peak time, your trough, and your recovery. So
yeah,
peak is when you work, analytical, deep kind of work. And
yeah,
then your trough is like phone calls, meetings. It's things where you're not doing too much deep work. You're doing, kind of, I don't know, word vomit, I guess. It's
yeah,
time to connect with people, talk to people,
yes,
get out all the things you've been thinking about.
yeah,
And then recovery is where you do some brainstorming, thinking, reflection. What needs. Now, I'm more of a morning person,
yeah,
so my peak time is in the morning.
yeah,
Other people are the reverse.
yeah,
They have the peak time later in the evenings.
yeah,
So for me now, it's just like morning and evening because I've got a lot to do, but it's blocked out of time, with family time and things like that. So for me, I always start the day with like prayer, meditation,
mhm,
visualization,
yeah,
looking at my goals. Then I jump into, okay, what are the main tasks that I have to like get done to communicate to the rest of the team. So,
yeah,
whenever you're leading other people, it's a lot of delegation. So,
yeah,
the night before, I probably had a lot of things came in that need to be adjusted. So I use Loom to do all of my video messages to the
yeah,
team. So I'll be like, hey, this happened. Let's change it to this, or let's do this. I'll
yeah,
do that. And then I'll jump into deep work. So I
mhm,
usually do 1 to 2 hours of content writing, paid ads management, whatever that looks like.
yeah,
Take a break, go check on the family, see all that. I wake up. Well, my 2-year-old wakes up me. Usually, she wakes up early. She's like 5:30. 5:45. So
right,
we wake up together. I'll get her breakfast situated. Right now, I'm having her do like phonics and reading shows on YouTube. So I'll make her breakfast. She
yeah,
sits there, watches that while I'm doing, my prayer meditation, task management thing like that. And then by the time usually then is our, 11-month-old, my wife gets up and that kind of thing. So,
yeah,
and then I jump into the deep work, take a break, do some more deep work, lunchtime, do some more deep work, exercise sometimes, depending on, meetings,
yeah,
schedules, calls that I need to have done. And then supper, I'm like totally family time. At least an hour to 2 hours. We eat supper, we spend time with the family together, go out on a walk, just talk. When you have so many people like vying for your time and
yeah,
priorities, I try to, put that away as much as I can.
yeah,
Working with a lot of companies and worldwide, and a team worldwide,
yeah,
you have to be mindful of the time zones and everything.
yeah,
So I just that's why I like to use Zoom and Slack, because you
yeah,
can send the messages right there and then they can get to it when they can
yeah,
get to it. And then usually after supper, putting the kids to bed, then I'll work at least an hour, 2 hours more in the
right,
evening. So,
okay,
and that's more deep work again. I have a team over in the Philippines too, so that's usually their prime time. So I'll
yeah,
do some calls then
right,
sometimes too. So
yeah,
it just depends on what's needed, but usually that kind of
yeah. And do
time
you work,
chunking.
yeah, do you work at weekends or is it just Monday to Friday?
I try not to work weekends.
Yeah,
I let my team know, and I
yeah,
try to get as I we were talking, Jackie, offline. You
mhm,
like to work hard, and
yeah,
so for me, I like to work hard and I play hard too.
yeah,
So
exactly, yeah,
like Saturdays, Sundays, I try not to do. It's
yeah,
family time as
yeah,
much as I can. Of course, you have stuff that needs to get done. Sometimes
yeah,
I will work a few hours, but I try to do as much work as I can Monday through
okay,
Friday.
yeah,
And then Friday nights after like 3, 4 p.m., unless I
mhm,
have a call or a meeting,
yeah,
it's off offline. Like
Oh,
I'm gone with family doing stuff. My wife and I like to do date night too, usually every Friday. So, you know, those kinds of, you got to keep your priorities straight.
oh, agree wholeheartedly. Totally. Anyway, thank you very, very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jackie.
everybody, for watching this evening. It's been lovely. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah,
And
likewise. Thank
yeah.
you.
And I will see everybody back here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And then after that, obviously next Thursday evening for somebody from the UK this time, actually, which we haven't had for a while. So thank you, everybody. And I will see you all next week. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.